Earth and Spirit Medicine, Ancient Healing Wisdom Podcast, episode 15. Now, we had all those Inside the Raven's Eye podcasts. It's not much different. We're just channeling the motion, okay? So, listen to all of them. Capture the golden nuggets out of every one of them. Today we're talking about a sacred approach. So, I was thinking this morning, Alan used to know ahead of time what our podcasts were about because he's more organized and outlined than I am. And so when we did Inside the Raven's Eye podcast, that we would already know ahead of time. And he would have time, and I'm talking like as if you're not here, yes, but he would have time to kind of have a thought or an impression or an experience about the information that we'd be discussing. And so this morning I thought, I didn't even know. But I've been talking about it all week. And it's a sacred approach. So I thought, I'll text him. And that was about the time he was leaving to come over here. So let's hear from him.
Yeah, like you said, 15, 20 minutes ago, I'd say, and sacred approach, like last episode, thoughts, words, feelings, actions. And I was thinking, okay, well, the first thing that I thought of when he said that was, wow, the thought of a sacred approach. And what are my daily thinkings? Do I approach them all the time, 100% in a sacred approach? No, not even close. It's something to strive for sure, on a sacred approach. And because our thoughts could be, if you are hanging around someone that maybe you shouldn't, or you're just around a person, but maybe not even, I don't even want to say like you shouldn't be, but what is the sacred approach to that person? Do I take the time to do that? So the idea, or even a sacred approach to prayer, or you just get up and you're like, 8:30, prayer time. What kind of approach is that? It seems almost just like work, robotic. So your prayers kind of become kind of stagnant in a very interesting way, like where you're just repeating the same crap, literally, like every day. And I don't want to do that. And so I'm really, I was kind of excited to see the sacred approach because it seems therefore very sacred, a sacred conversation for people to really think, what is that? It's not just a bunch of words to me. It is this self-mastery to a certain degree. Like when I think of self-mastery, it is a very sacred approach because I have to think about it every single moment of every single day. It's like, hey, well, why did I just think of like cussing a person out or something like, that's not a sacred approach at all. Maybe they just need someone to sit down and talk to, or maybe just need a hug. How many people probably need that right now? Probably a lot. So for me, that's the first thing. Was maybe for me, a sacred approach right now is clearing my thoughts and making sure they're aligned to do the thing that I want to do in my future. Because if I'm not doing it now, I can't get to my future in a sacred approach. So.
Okay, and that's kind of what I wanted to go with. And so in our prayer previous to starting this episode, we're thinking about how many times can you think in your life about a sacred approach, whether it was someone to you or you to someone, or let's just consider the life force, a plant, an animal, okay, weather, how do we approach the life force? How do we approach this energetic feature? All right, so ourselves, what is this sacred approach, and what does it really mean, I guess, like that. So thinking about maybe even someone just calmly coming up and saying, wow, you really radiate, you have some very beautiful positive energy about you. I just wanted to come up and meet you and shake your hand. So that would be like a sacred approach, I would think, So there's so many aspects to all this. My mind, even before I thought about doing this episode called The Sacred Approach, I was thinking about little kitties this morning for some reason. And it's not like I have kitties, but my kids have, and I did when I was a kid, etc. And, when they're little, like a baby, there's this feature about them wherein I think most human beings, there's a softness. There's this approach to this, you were saying about maybe a hug, just some love, and so that's when I thought about that kitty, because I forgot I thought about that this morning. Because the other day I was asked when we were having some birthday celebration, hey Dad, what was the name of that kitten that you ran over of Lakota's, my son? Oh God, that was brought back a memory for me. I hated it. Okay, I came home from work, I opened the garage, and I accidentally ran over this little beautiful kitten that you could hold in your hand. Okay. And I knew that I was just sickened. It was horrible. And a lot of it too was because of this needing to tell my son about it. We just barely got these kitties, and then Dad runs over his. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. And a complete accident. And when I thought about that, and I was just thinking, okay, this idea, we've had these episodes like mastering of mind, accountability, autonomy, and here we are, and we're talking about the sacred approach. And so many episodes previous, and I'm pretty energetic. Some people have said that I'm quite intense, and even sometimes I've used the word like my energy seems to be somewhat intimidating, and I've always tried to understand that because I never felt any type of superiority. I always felt kind of, less than. I'm not sure how it is for you, but it's not like going out feeling like I'm all this and all that. I'm trying to just feel good about myself. Trying to feel good. So when these things happen in life, and they're these situations that take place, whether it's in our relationships and it usually is, we're so deeply embedded into human connection that this sacred approach can't go almost out of this conversation without the consistency of the word with people all the time. But when we think even more macro or broader on this, we're in the life force, okay? And we've got to kind of view ourselves, if you can, kind of take out the form of all of this. Take out the form. Maybe put a shape to it. And maybe just see like a vibration of me right now, of a form, not necessarily a human form, but like a shadow almost, a shadow, motion, and seeing the motion go. What is fire in that element? What is that kitty? What is when a spirit leaves a body? What is it like when my brother and cousins were killed in that train auto accident, and I went there the next day to the scene all by myself down there, and I had a vision about the entirety of what took place, even to the seeing their spirits leaving their bodies and how they communicated with each other out of their bodies as their bodies lie dormant and the life force continues. So if you can imagine for just a minute. I had no idea I was going to be talking like this. Wow, okay. So if you can just imagine, kind of shadow it, if you will, and just see life force. Maybe for the first time, it's everywhere, okay? It's what we live in. It's this energy field. So I've mentioned, and especially I think in the first episode of Survival Essentials series, about how that book written by Larry Dean Olson saved my life. And as far as, even though I'd been brought up in wilderness and hunting, things like that, whatever, and just realizing that through all those addictions and needing to be done with cocaine at that time, and having that book come to me in such a phenomenal way, knowing that that's what I would be doing the remainder of my life, that was a sacred approach of the life force to me, okay? That's like something out there saying, hey, you're more than that. You're let me give you I'm gonna cry. Let me give you a reminder. Let me give you a reminder, says Spirit. You ever had a reminder? Like maybe you got a loved one, and you feel them, and you feel them, and then maybe you question it even, and you wonder, how does it work?
Yeah, reminders of a sacred approach. And it's almost kind of like always, maybe sometimes, I'm thinking about what I was thinking about earlier, about the root cause of certain things, and how you're reminding people, even watching, listening, whatever, but to take a moment of, I think you're in what people consider your intensity is like you speak truth. And because that's what I thought of when you said that, you speak the truth. And most of the time it's just, I don't know how many people want to hear the truth. And it's hard sometimes, especially when you take everything else out there, all that outside influence, and you just come back to your one true home, and you try to do it in a very sacred approach, kind of like many people burn sage, but you really burn sage. That's what I was noticing with with your hand, and you take it all in like the ancestors did. And so again, the sacred approach. And I think your truth is so powerful because you went truth with yourself first on a very sacred approach. And I know I had to do that, and I continue to have to do that all the freaking time. That's like what I'm finding out about myself is like I keep on calling myself out all the time. And I have to all the time, all the freaking time. And it's always on good walks or anything. I'm thinking about everything that I like to do that helps me. And whatever this self-talk is, I think self-talk is so important on a sacred approach because, yes, it seems like you're talking to yourself, but really I'm just talking to all my ancestors and seeking answers all the time because it's usually stuff I don't have an answer to. So I'm just seeking some freaking how, like, hey, like, okay, and then all of a sudden I get like messages. I'm talking in a way that I don't even have, I've never spoken before. That's like Alan's way of validating things. Like, I never said that before. Holy crap. Or I never thought that way. Holy crap. It's like, thanks. And what I noticed too is it's not and we've said it so many times, it's not one pill fix all thing. It's years. It's not going to happen in a few months. It's not going to happen in a week. It's not, no way. It's the small incremental steps that you do every day of seeking truth and on a sacred approach. It's what for me, it's the thing that I'm noticing more and more. It's the years that gone by and seeking and looking back and looking for all those things and the blessings that you get along the way, like you said, of you overcoming that addiction, and that book lighting up the way it did. And yeah, that's just a beautiful experience, and I think all of us should be seeking something similar to that. May it be a eagle flying in the sky or a book, shining brightly that we need to read. It's all that sacred approach. So
pause. Don't turn this off. Stay right there. I'm trying not to swear. Kind of blown away. So, hey, this is the book. This is the very book as I was in that room recovering, cleaning myself, locked in a basement, getting off of cocaine, going through all these withdrawals all by myself for 2 weeks. This book lit up early morning one day, lit up on a shelf. It's another story about when I went to tell this guy thank you. Yeah, man, talk about a sacred approach and how life can seemingly come to take you away from what you know is truth in your direction. You were talking about that. And then when you get insights, when you're taking this sacred approach to yourself, so there's that book. You're taking that sacred approach to yourself. Here, I'll have that, thanks. You go within. So he's talking about that. Hey, approach myself, and prayers all the time, oh, hey. So, but when you go in, and instead of having a dialogue, and yes, prayers are beautiful. Pray, I say all the time, And so then here's this part where he's talking about, and then somehow, once you go in, you kind of access this divine intelligence, okay? It's an inner journey, it just is. So saying that then, oh God, I'm saying things, hearing things, coming to truth, okay, because we're attached to it, and so we can't help but get what we're able to receive at the very given moment in our lives. And so he's talking about a timeline of ascension, of implementing these strategies and techniques, and there has to be consistency, because everything right up to today, to this very second, has been very consistent in your life, one way or another, and whatever it is, do you like it? Do you want it there still, or do you want it gone? Do you want to be consistent in the things that fuel you, that ascend you, that take you to that place, whoosh, through that center, okay? So, 1983, that book. Wow, that's over 40 freaking years. That's over 40 years. What is time? What is the sacred approach to this life? How long do we get to be here in the flesh to do that? Okay. Let me preface. So, shortly after this book and my incessant just fire inside of me to learn and take in and experience everything that I could on every level. Don't just tell me there's a plant that does this. I'm going to go out and find out for sure in the wilderness. Put it to the test. Everything that I talk about has been a time tested, okay? It just has. But I didn't know it would equate to this very moment right now, this very day, in this conversation, this podcast, sitting here, and what is being presented to you. There's a book written by John Nehart, anthropologist, and back in the 1800s, he sat with it might have been early 19s anyway. Black Elk Speaks is the name of the book, written by John Nehart. a wonderful book, according to me. Okay. A lot of correlations to other books that I've read that neither place in any position would have known that one was writing about another. They came together in some synchronistic, beautiful way. I saw this time and time. Where does truth come? In a common. And what is common? Not an opinion, not a thought, not a coming to or hey, they're thinking the same. It's an absolute. It's unchanging, these truths, okay? They're unchanging. So when I'm reading in there in Black Elk, he says something like this. Every step we take should be taken in a sacred manner. Each step should be as a prayer. The power of a pure heart is planted as a seed and will grow in your heart as you walk in a sacred manner. The Spirit is anxious to aid all who seek after it. So something like that, okay? But this part here, every step is a prayer. That takes it all back. That takes it all, because there has to be a thought, as he was mentioning, previous to the approach. If there's not, the sacredness seems to not be acknowledged, perhaps. But when we get good at this over years, it is a constant. It's a way of living. Every step is a prayer. It's always. You hear the sirens. Oh, God, bless all those people. Bless everybody. Don't let anybody die. Bless all the loved ones. I don't know what's going on out there, but I hear those sirens. Please bless everybody. You see something horrific. So sometimes my wife watches these paranormal things, and they're doing these ghost hunter things, and I pick up on stuff even off that, and it's like, hey, go bless them. God, they didn't help them. They just went in there and filmed some things and did some things, but did they help the people get rid of the demonic entities off of that land and out of the home and away from it, out of them, perhaps like that? So what's the solution? What's the sacred approach? What is the way to get truth, absolute truth, live by that truth, absolute truth, and to be able to say, so some people say, I believe in science, I don't believe in God. Well, I believe in God. Dear God, I say, often, in the name of Jesus Christ, a little girl is sick right now, and this is in real time in the Uentus. Say, please. She has giardia. She drinks some of that river water. She's real sick. She's only 5. Okay, she doesn't feel good. It hurts. And I hear. Ask and you shall receive. What are you going to ask science? I mean, yes. Not knocking science. There's something great about this observation theory, and then, the redo test and test. I'd take out and go test out these plants. Okay, yeah, I was approaching it from some sort of scientific method to learn, yes. But trusting Spirit, putting God in the forefront, okay? So then when God says in that moment, when I'm like, hey, I need this help. What plants? What should I do? Go get some yarrow, some dandelion, and some plantain. Well, I knew what they were. So he tells me, go get them, make a tea. She'll be better in 20 minutes. You got to believe that, okay? I've never had science come to me and tell me that, like that, okay? And everybody's different, see? One pill doesn't fix it all for everybody. No. What is your sacred approach to yourself? What is your sacred approach when you get in there and you realize you are eternal and you are spirit? What is your sacred approach to everybody thereafter and every life force and everything that you're doing? And how does that equate to right now in this world when one could look in their phones and TVs and exteriors and say, oh, we're living in hell. Oh, Satan has taken over the world. Oh, wow. Okay. Shh. Go listen to the episode about the wheat field. You got to go with it. You got to move with this energy, okay? This is how we beat it. This is how we combat it. This is a sacred approach. Spirit. God. We're made from this essence, this purity. When I approach the plants, I didn't always approach people with sacredness. No, I got kind of upset sometimes. I've said and done some things that are not nice. Things that you could say that one wouldn't be proud of. But what is it? What's a sacred approach when someone comes at you with an axe? Well, my sacred approach that way was to run to him as he's holding that axe up saying, why do I want to put this through your effing windshield? And he's starting to charge me. Well, I charged him faster with nothing in my hands, with a knowing and a swipe across the top of his head. And I said, it's those gosh damn demons. And he dropped to the ground and the axe fell out of his hand and he started to sob. What is that?
Well, I guess for me, my situation was, standing up to, it wasn't anyone in the flesh. It was that demonic entity that was kind of roaming in the family, so for me, it was standing up to that and shoving a door open, not closed. Was that concept? Which was very, very powerful. So I think that's something also to think about for people is how often do we think we're being tough when we close a door on something when maybe we need to open the door instead. I think that's a sacred approach. But yet it's not the concept that some people do, I think, because they're scared when they think, oh, it's all like, I'll call it hippie vibes. Oh, just open the door. Mm-hmm. No, it's intense. It's really intense. And it is sacred because it's not like you can't fight anger with anger. You just get more angry. So there is a sacred approach, like where is that dance of like that love and light, but meeting them saying, you're not going to tear me down. It's not like you punch the guy in the face, So, it is a very sacred approach. It's something I never really thought about, honestly, and something I'll probably need to just eat all this up, really. And I think people need to eat all this up. This episode is really important to think about what is the sacred approach, especially, again, if I don't ever want to fight anger with anger. I know that's how the demons work that freaking crap. They thrive in it. Oh my gosh. So yeah.
Thank you. So, sacred approach isn't always calm, I'll say. It's not always soft. It's not always quiet. It's not always silent. But today, right now, how are you approaching right now?